Now, one of the reasons for the U.S. to get involved in this conflict is because it has military hardware Israel doesn't have. The B-22 bomber is one example. The stealth bomber is considered a U.S. strategic weapon, with each jet costing more than $2 billion to produce. It's designed to be nearly invisible to radar, and there are only 19 in service. Each B-2 bomber has the capacity to carry more than 18 tons of bombs, either conventional or nuclear. And it can fly nearly 10,000 kilometers without refueling, and is designed to reach its target anywhere on Earth in a matter of hours. Let's speak to Adam Clements about this. He's a UN foreign policy analyst and former Pentagon official, joining us from Washington, D.C. Adam, thank you so much for being with us on Al Jazeera. A lot of talk about the B-2 bomber and the bunker-busting bombs that only the U.S. has that could strike the Fordo nuclear facility deep underground in Iran. What is your sense first of which way U.S. involvement in the conflict is heading? Are we inching towards direct U.S. strikes, do you think?
Thank you, Foley. I think what we're seeing is a lot of back and forth in the media space. Of course, from all major sides in this conflict, from the United States, from Israel, from Iran. And so in actual military terms, as far as a policy, what we're going to see going forward, the administration has definitely been maybe not as straightforward as what some would like. It would be expected. But I really think it's going to be a question of who wins out between the isolationists in the administration and the Iran hawks. And I think that the signaling right now has been that the U.S. doesn't want to become involved in another conflict in the Middle East. Naturally, within the Republican Party on Capitol Hill, there's not an agreement on that. There are certainly some Iran hawks that thinks that this has been a long time coming of a direct Israeli attack on Iran's interest, and that's some way of what they on the Hill assess as also U.S. interest. So a lot of debate here in Washington.
Indeed, a lot of debate and a lot of mixed messages from President Trump himself. Do you think this is calculated ambiguity?
It's certainly always possible. I think you're right to say there is some calculation and ambiguity, some war of words of trying to really send some strong messaging. I think what's the big question here is, in the past week, the past 5 days since it started, as far as the administration scrambling to try to find a way to publicly message what's happened while it was in the middle of negotiating with Iran, then Israel conducting these strikes. And of course, Israel had been left out of a lot of these negotiations. So I expect the continued back and forth in the media space for right now.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see if the administration, how long it allows Israel to move forward with its air campaign.
What would a direct route be for U.S. involvement? You know, given your experience in the Pentagon and what would a U.S. involvement in the war look like? And can any U.S. operation truly remain limited?
Well, I think you're right to ask this question, because military operations are always an extension of political objectives. And so I think it's a question of what's the end state, what's the true objective of if the United States would become involved? How does it extricate itself from some conflict? And then from an operational standpoint, the United States Central Command and the Pentagon, of course, never release where these strikes are coming from. As you said before this interview, this could be from something launched from the U.S., some planes, aircraft from the United States, from aircraft carriers elsewhere in the region, within Europe.
But some countries in the region,
so
as you say, there's a political red line.
Those options are possible.
As you know, some countries in this region have set a political red line. The U.S.'s Gulf partners, like Qatar, for example, they don't want to see launches from their bases here. From where, then, could the U.S. realistically launch an operation against Iran?
Well, I think it depends on the scope of what that military operation wants to achieve. You already mentioned some of the long-range bombers, the B-2 bombers, that can be launched in the United States. Those are options. Europe as well. There's been other partnerships, of course, in the Mediterranean with bases that the United Kingdom uses in Akatori and Cyprus. So those are certainly all options that are on the table. And I think that those are the things that we wouldn't fully know and would certainly not ever be announced.
All right. Thank you for talking to us about this. Thank you for sharing your insight. Adam Clements, a U.S. foreign policy analyst, former Pentagon official, joining us there from Washington.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.